Here we are, April 22nd, and we have made it. The sun and the moon coming into conjunction with each other. There it is, as you can see them both entering into the same degree of the zodiac. We have made it to a new moon. A new moon is when the sun and the moon, as you can see here, occupy the exact same degree in the zodiac, meaning they are 0 degrees apart. Every month, the moon makes its waxing journey all the way to the 180 degree mark, meaning its direct opposition to the sun. And then it begins a waning cycle until it reaches the new moon, when the moon is completely dark. New moon, opposition, full moon. As you can see at the new moon, the moon is completely dark. We can't see any light.
Straight down into the dark. It's like wicked dark down there. You can't see a thing. How's it going, Bob?
When the moon is making its way from the full moon back to the new moon, as we see here, what happens on that end of the cycle is we begin to reflect upon all that we had grown during the waxing phase. So the waxing is a very growing phase. We're going out into the world. We're sort of taking that journey away from the sun, entering the height of its power at the full moon. As we come back around to this conjunction here, one thing we begin to notice is that things get stripped away. As the moon loses light, so too do we shed parts of ourselves, but just what is being shed. When the moon is on its waning cycle, meaning it's losing light, what we find is being stripped away during the waning cycle is all of our individuality, in a sense, who we've become. And sometimes we forget that we're somewhat primal in nature. And that primal nature that we have tends to get lost as we take our more logical, rational journeys into ourselves and out into society, where we claim a role and we separate ourselves from our families and maybe other groups, and we try to find out who exactly we are in relation to ourselves, separate of our relationship with the collective. There is most definitely a reconciliation that happens with the sun and the moon, and the cycle that the moon goes on from conjunction with the sun and all the way to opposition with the sun, from full moon to new moon. And the sun, which represents our individuality, our uniqueness, it's the moon that represents our connection with the collective. And on the dark of the moon, the new moon, what we're actually doing is we're taking these last few moments to strip away and to prepare ourselves for the rebirth into a new cycle, into another cycle around the earth and around the sun. So sometimes on the journey of the moon around the zodiac, what we tend to notice is that we repress part of our feminine nature, part of our lunar nature, in order that we may become who we are supposed to be, which is represented by the sun and its location in the birth chart. On this new moon, anything that you've repressed, you can now meditate on. And as you go about your day and then come into your night, maybe you want to write down just exactly what it is that you want to accomplish moving forward, and what parts of yourself have been getting left behind, and how those correlate with the lunar energy in your life, the more primal, collective security needs that you have, also the emotional needs that one has and should express. Because what will happen here is that all of the parts of yourself that are individual will get stripped away until you realize this lesson, and you'll be faced with those darker parts of yourself having to suppress more and more and more until eventually you've suppressed so much that it becomes extremely difficult to deal with later on down the road. Now is a great time with this new moon, like we were saying a couple of videos ago, when the sun entered Taurus, and that is the new moon creates a new beginning, a new cycle, and it's also the culmination, the end of something. So one thing that we want to do is use this energy of Taurus, where this new moon is taking place, to create that clarity of intent, to know exactly what it is that we want in the world, to know exactly what parts of ourselves are being shown to us through those desires. What powers that lie within us that are unlocked through the pursuit of those desires. And that's why the clarity of intent becomes extremely important with the new moon in focus. You've got all this great energy, Taurus, which is, about getting your intent very clear and having your values and beliefs mapped out so that you don't merge them too closely with others. And the moon is about your own repressed urges and needs and the parts of yourself that may not have been getting taken care of on a base level. So now you can really begin to concentrate that energy that we've been talking about in previous videos, with that moon just coming off the Mercury aspect and the heightened sense of mind, and use that concentration to start building your own values and beliefs in a way that resonates with the vision that you have for your future.